Hello again, people in that, and welcome back to Get Out of Here. You stupid.
You stupid. Get out of here.
Except actually don't get out of here. You're not stupid. I'm talking about the game. Please don't leave. Please don't click away. No. I'm just kidding. I mean, if you want to watch the episode, then please, don't get out of here. You're not stupid. But Godot, he's stupid. He get out of here.
That was a lot of words to say that.
Yes.
Show me your moves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeez.
I feel like if I put a little bit of effort into it, I can actually do a really good Captain Falcon voice.
Maybe.
Anyway. Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument. Mr. Wright, I have a piece of evidence here that shows that the testimony cannot be trusted. Because Miss Elisa Dunham would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Should I just show her profile, I guess?
I think so.
Elise Dunham would never have attacked Maya Fey. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name is not Elise Dunham. Her real name was Misty Fey.
Fey?
No! Not Mystic Misty Fey!
Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to...
Misty Fey is the master of the Crane channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey.
Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Dunham actually the great Mystic Misty? There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris has no idea. I can hardly believe it. The idea that she would kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution could offer some explanation as to why she would do such a thing.
Yeah. Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own, when taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Listen, there's nothing in the world, this world that isn't possible. Except for one little thing.
Yes? What is this one little impossible thing?
You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps.
Could you get to your point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee.
You're going to ruin your health, my friend.
Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it.
Interesting. Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene.
Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
Huh? The pine tree? The dagger... Oh.
This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree when the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree.
Which means the blood on the dagger belongs to the victim, correct?
Ha. Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
You said 8 earlier. Didn't you just say it was 8 a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I add that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
Can we get our staff tested as well? Because we never did that.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately.
And take the staff too. Fine.
Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we could consider her testimony to be credible.
You girls never lie. Even when...
In any
It just said
case,
ever.
witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
What about, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor.
Something I believe that we Americans call a catfight?
Well, I mean, usually, but is it the same when it's a mother and daughter?
I don't know. I was asking you.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with a staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly Mystic Elise was on the defense, with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there's any more bad feelings between them, but it hadn't been 17 years since Mystic Missy's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore?
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. It feels good to say those words again.
Yeah.
Also, murder in my murder courtroom.
Yes, sir, there is in fact a murder in your murder courtroom this time. Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all this? What do you mean? Well, if either of you them had noticed you, they might not have continued the battle. I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing in the garden's stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so... I think that's why they didn't see me. The lanterns were supposedly lit, though.
So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Maya Fey do after she was struck?
What happened to the victim's staff, then? I'm not sure. The area is very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger stuck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up. Nothing's not especially strange yet.
What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim? Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger. I still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point, it's just silly.
As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal.
I believe the correct description of the cornered fox is scared and petrified.
Your animal analogies have grown tiresome.
You were the one who started it.
Boys! Murder in my murder courtroom.
Well, there's gonna be a murder courtroom if he keeps this shit up.
What? Hey, you're the one who started it. Mr. Blue Badger over there.
Oh, okay, Mr.
Or should I say, Blue Hedgehog!
Okay, well, Mr. Green,
What? What?
Didn't you used to wear a red suit?
What?
Didn't you used to wear a red suit?
Yes.
Fine then, Mr. Red Echidna.
Are you comparing me to Knuckles?
Well, you're comparing me to Sonic. And plus, that's the only...
You have the spiky hair, you're wearing blue. You're literally an anthropomorphic Sonic ripoff.
You also have spiky hair.
And? Knuckles clearly has dreads.
Fine. I mean, well, he can't really be Shadow, because Edgeworth is already Shadow.
I'm Jet.
Jet the Hawk?
Hell yeah.
Alright. I mean, I guess...
Do you know any other green characters from the Sonic franchise?
No,
Any?
not really.
At all? Exactly. I guess you want to call me Irish the Hedgehog.
I mean, I guess Gumshoe can be Knuckles.
What?
I mean, he's big and tough, I guess.
And dumb.
Mm. Oh yeah, we're in the middle of a trial, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Maybe we should get back to that. Anyway.
Also, I was gonna make another joke, but I forgot what it was.
No.
I yelled at you for being Sonic. And
then I asked if you had a red suit.
no, wait, I got it. I'm Silver.
Oh. Sure.
Hair, big, spiky, kind of in a 5 shape.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, shut up, I like Silver, okay?
That's fine. And the judge is like, anyway, if we can get back to the fucking...
If we can get back to the murder in my murder courtroom. So, after Maya Furry backed the victim to the stone lantern, what happened next?
Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw? Yes, I'm almost certain. Almost? The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who. What did she say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
We know that Maya Fey was at the inner temple that night, and that the woman that was killed was Elise Dunham. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who?
I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh, the two of them face each other for a moment, and then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. And Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh?
Yes. Where did that dagger go? I have no idea. It was dark and I couldn't see.
According to the detective who found the dagger, it was stuck in the pine tree in the garden. Most likely it was flung towards the tree after the struggle.
That is the most likely explanation, yes.
After being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse right away? Now that I think of it, she seemed to stare at Mystic Maya for a while, and Mystic Maya stood there, not moving an inch. It felt for a moment that time had just stopped. But then, suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over. Seems like a reasonable story at first, but there's one thing that is completely impossible. The very idea of Maya stabbing someone. That alone is impossible, which means this faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. Well, I think I already know. So if she was already dead at that point, she couldn't have written... Oh, do we not have that?
The Maya bloodstain on the wall? No.
Yeah, fuck's sake.
We don't actually have that in the evidence.
Well, that's where I was going with that, but
And it's not... She wasn't trying to say that she was already dead at that point, but that she'd collapsed.
I guess that's fair, but...
Which means that theoretically she could have written the name on the wall. But if that was the case, wouldn't Maya have tried to, like...
Erase it or something?
Yeah, or cover it up or something?
Alright, so let's see what we got. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly, then she dodged the attack and stole a weapon. Suddenly, Elise was only defensive.
Back on stone lantern.
Maya
Stab Mystic Elise.
I
I think that's the one that's wrong.
Okay. What do we have to contradict it? Oh! Yeah.
Is it the... I thought that might be it, but I wasn't sure.
No?
No.
Okay, but... The blood on the orb, so the staff had to have been close by. That's where I'm going with that.
Right.
Also, I didn't save, so... I would just normally reload my save, but I was so confident.
It's alright. Just save now.
So you think it's this. But what do we have?
Stab in the back. That's it. Because she's saying that she was that she stabbed Mystic Elise in the stomach. She was stabbed in the back, not from the front.
Oh. Autopsy report?
Yeah.
There we go, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Something about you just said isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's wrong about my testimony? According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yes, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right?
Yes, I think so.
But, according to this autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. Ah! This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has been sprouted from your testimony. Ah!
Well, what is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
Ha! It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift.
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind.
Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims that the victim was stabbed in the stomach.
There certainly are some inconsistencies.
Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing.
What do you mean?
There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee, but to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said?
Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light.
By the way, did you know Hazakura has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit.
I did wonder about that stone lantern was for.
Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light the stone lantern.
Impossible?
It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Ha
Haha.
ha ha.
Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away.
Except we have evidence that the other torches were used.
If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite?
No!
Order! 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 Order!
Man, I thought of a bad joke that I realized would be actually kind of insensitive if I said it.
To us? To...
I was gonna, because Godot was talking about, like, you know, having to be able to see things and whatnot, and I was gonna be like, you should be one to talk about not being able to see things. And you'd be like,
Oh my
yeah.
god!
Yeah.
Wow!
Oh yeah, sure, let's all pick on the disabled guy.
Right, that's why I didn't want to say it.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Oh, we're terrible people.
We are. I'm sorry.
Here, Your Honor, let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind.
Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face?
What's wrong, Your Honor? Was the flame too hot?
This lantern, there's something written on it. Why? It's written in blood.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, also Godot can't see that because his visor's red. It's just like how he couldn't see the blood stain, or sorry, ketchup stain on...
Right! Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, so Godot just
He
can't
see red.
Yeah. Or, like, red is pretty much all he sees, so anything red just blends in.
Right. Oh, Miles Edgeworth must look really bizarre to him then.
Yeah.
Or maybe because it's a different shade of red, it like... Maybe it's actually dark enough that maybe it kind of picks up that he's wearing this suit, but he doesn't really... He can't tell what color it is.
Maybe, yeah. So the judge didn't know about that yet.
Written in blood?
It says Maya upside down.
What the?
Oh, yes. That's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise did fall down right away. She must have written that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
Well, we kind of suspected that. I don't think that's necessarily a contradiction.
Yeah?
It certainly looks that way.
Hang on. Hang on just a minute. What are y'all talking about?
What do you mean, what are we all talking about?
We're talking about the message written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern, it's as good as a whistle.
Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday.
My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
So that's what he meant by that.
In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further? Mr. Godot?
Okay then. Let's move on.
Godot is literally shaking, and somehow, I don't think it's from the caffeine overdose.
I believe it has now been established that Miss Dunham was killed by Maya Fey.
That's just wrong.
Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears.
So we're not going to talk about the lanterns that were lit? Okay.
The torches?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not time yet,
Maybe.
for whatever reason.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future of the massacring village, so I moved the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used a snowmobile to carry it back to Haza Greater Temple and... I used a Shishishito to alter the way the moon looked.
So you moved the body.
Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Dunham was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin.
A terrible trick of fate.
I believe what you're looking for is a twist of fate, Your Honor.
I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of her body, but
You were spotted by the head nun, correct?
yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. So, you waited until everything was over before making a move?
No, it's not like that.
She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion.
Isn't that your job as a judge to mediate the argument?
But it's fun watching you two argue.
Judge, I swear to God.
What?
How do you even have a job?
Because I do it?
Yeah. Whatever.
What?
I-
What?
no,
Oh, you're
no.
down with now, lawyer boy? Huh?
I mean, technically speaking,
Fucking stands up, rips off his fucking, Judge wrote to reveal that he's, like, just fucking ripped, like, super big, like Pro Wrestler Mania, like, ripped.
listen here, Judge. I'm gonna say one thing that is completely true, and you cannot deny it.
What's that?
If it weren't for me doing all of my investigating, all of my persuasion of defending my clients, all that shit, you would just hand down guilty verdicts left and right. You would have sent innocent people to jail if I weren't the one here convincing you to not do it.
Well, that's not necessarily true. That's not how that works. I mean, clearly it doesn't matter what I think about the situation. Justice is equally handed down. That's what the system is designed to do.
Yes, but if I drain all my life bar, or whatever the fuck that's supposed to be, then you said...
Life bar?
The thing on the top of the screen that goes down whenever...
Screen?
The penalty, whatever, I don't know.
Well, yes, if you're terrible at your job, I have to hand down the penalty. That's how this works.
But that doesn't automatically make my client guilty.
Yeah, it does, because you failed to prove that they're not guilty, therefore that makes them guilty.
But isn't it innocent until proven guilty?
No. Have you been paying attention at all?
Ah.
Murder in my murder courtroom!
It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done.
So then, you knew? You knew that the significance of the name Maya Fey?
Yes, of course I did.
That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position.
Anyway, she was a very special person indeed.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene.
You removed her body all by yourself?
Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it weren't for the snow.
The snow, huh?
Wouldn't that have made it even more difficult?
You would think. It's pretty amazing you could make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge.
It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age.
Yeah, it's like they say. Idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold.
But there's one other thing that bothers me. I'm not even going to acknowledge Godot's statement.
Neither am I.
Why not just throw the body into Eagle River? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple.
As has been done previously in other cases.
Yeah.
I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible.
Ha! Makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge?
The snowmobile? I knew that'd show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used a snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? Probably. About the snowmobile, because we already know about the tracks. Let's hear about the snowmobile ride.
Well, I was very cold that night, so I rode it all the way to the foot of the bridge.
I'm sorry, witness. But now, I've got a problem with your testimony.
Excuse me?
Godot, what are you up to now?
That night, after the head nun left the remainder of the training to you, she said she walked from the inner temple back to Hazakura Temple.
Yes, I'm fairly certain that's what the record indicates.
Let's recall her comments on the subject.
Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there, by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean.
The snowmobile was in front of the main gate. This is one of those contradictions, wouldn't you say?
Except I think he's got the timing incorrect.
I don't think so, actually.
Because in the one that's showing, it showed it with the snow still on top
Yeah,
of stuff.
and at that point, it would have had the snow still on top of it. Because it wouldn't have been used yet.
But I thought she had to have used it early in the day when it was still snowing.
Well, she did, yes.
Do you think it was not involved in moving the body?
I don't know about that yet, but I think we got the timing of things a bit mixed up. Because when we got there, like day one, you know, we saw that in front with the snow covering it.
Well, yeah.
It was only moved like after the incident or whatever. Well, not. We only saw it with the snow off of it after the incident, but it snowed that night, and I don't think we ever saw it, or that day. I don't think we were out while it was snowing, if that makes sense.
Well, no, because it was snowing at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
At least according to the weather data.
Well, I think it stopped snowing at 10.
No, I think it was later, wasn't it? Because I thought it was
7 to
10:50.
Hmm.
Yeah, so.
So she must have used it sometime while it was snowing. So sometime between 10 and 7:50.
Yeah.
So if Bikini got back around, let's say, 8 or something, right?
From where?
From the inner temple.
Oh, okay.
Then.
But wait, was Maya already there? Because I thought they were still eating at that point.
Good point. I don't know. It must. Well, then again, didn't the training start at like? The training started around 10.
The training was supposed to start at 10. That's what was the point of the ringing the lights out bell and the.
Let's say she got back at. If it takes her 20 minutes, so she would have gotten back around 10:20.
Give or take, yeah.
Which means that the snowmobile must have been used after 10:20, but before 10:50, because that would the snow, it would have to be snowing still to cover up the tracks.
Right.
So the snowmobile got returned after 10:50, but set out before. So sometime between 10:20 and 10:50.
That's half an hour. So, do you think that Misty was killed earlier in the day, and then it was only at this time that the killer decided to go grab the body?
Perhaps.
Under the guise of the winter storm and everything?
That could be possible.
Well, why are you pointing out contradictions in the witness's testimony?
Let's just say I like things to be neat and tidy, okay?
Well, maybe. Sister Bikini messed up. Yes, maybe she didn't see it.
You think she missed it? That doesn't sound right.
Ha. Whatever. Even I don't think this is decisive enough to warrant any more time or effort. It's just... You'd better be careful in your testimony. That's all I wanted to say. A smart little cookie like you shouldn't have any trouble understanding that.
Yes, sir.
What's that all about? I would want to give me a hint.
Very well then, let's continue with the testimony. So you transported the body by snowmobile all the way to Hazakura Temple Courtyard?
Yes, I thought that way Mystic Maya would never be suspected. That's what I thought anyway. And then I...
Is that what you were doing when Sister Bikini saw you?
Yes, that's right. She probably thought She probably thought the worst.
Probably. More like definitely.
I see. So Sister Bikini mistakenly thought you were the one that murdered Miss Donham.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It's my fault this case has gotten so confusing.
I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. And that is... oh, for Dahlia, right. Same here. Because I think this is probably where I need to present something. No. Oh, it's already past 30. So, in the next episode, we will figure out what evidence we need. See you guys then.